What is up, everybody, and welcome to Comp Check episode number 13, brought to you by Sony INZONE. Can you guys believe that the VCT starts up in 2.5 days? That is nuts. VCT China kicks off with Wolves Esports, my boy Darion making his debut in China against Titan Esports Club in 2 days and 9 hours. I'm definitely be watching the Chinese games, VODs of them, probably on my other channel, so if you're interested in that, you can check that out. I was part of this system last year, and I have even forgot just how kind of like packed the schedule feels when you're a part of it. There is not that much breathing room. Obviously, they did have some time off between stage one and now because of Masters happening, but a lot of these teams have been shuffling their rosters, remaking their teams, integrating new maps, a new agent patch, all sorts of stuff going on. It really does not feel like that much breathing room. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams are doing. And that's what we're going to do today in this podcast is I'm going to do my best to power rank all the teams from all the regions and probably predict the first week of the Chinese games. So stay tuned for that. But before we do that, just a quick word about the sponsor, Sony INZONE. INZONE is Sony's gaming tailored peripherals developed in tandem with Fnatic with advice from pro esports players. I personally use their mouse and their headset and also their monitor and their mouse pad. Honestly, the products are great. They're nice and simple and like well crafted. The materials are good. The durability has been good so far. The quality is high, as you would expect from Sony products. So I'm a big fan of the INZONE line of products. Check them out in the description and the pinned comment below. And with that being said, let's get right into today's episode, which is basically just going to be this power ranking. We can talk about a little bit of news that I think is worth going over. Obviously there's some stuff going on. We had some news about Frost moving over to Full Sense. Honestly, I kind of gave my thoughts about the whole GE Frost situation last episode. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he immediately just moves over to a team that he probably shouldn't have left in the first place. Snaked my job because he did have to leave that team. I'm just kidding. Who knows what would have happened otherwise. And then we saw GE have some struggles at EWC, but I'm not going to read too much into that yet. There's also been quite a few roster moves all across the scene, and I'll probably just kind of reference those as we go through the power ranking. And so let's just do it. Let's just do the power ranking. So if you haven't seen me do one of these before, I am going to do sort of like 2 by 2 all the way across for each region. And this is not necessarily how I think they're going to finish, but it's how I perceive them in terms of like their strength coming into the stage. So, factoring in sort of their momentum from last stage, how I think they're going to handle the new meta, the new map, that type of stuff, and then whether their roster moves, if they made any, are good. And so, yeah, it's not necessarily this is like the first and second team. It's like power ranking. I think they have the potential to be the best team, second best team, etc. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes, region by region. So let's go ahead and start with the region that everybody cares about the most, EMEA. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna start. We're just gonna start with Americas because I'm looking at 100 Thieves, and so we're just gonna go ahead and throw these Americas teams up there to start. So Americas is a very interesting one. I mean, obviously, it would make sense to put Leviathan at number 1, but I don't know if that's exactly where I'm going to end. They did just win Masters. They look really good. The patch probably is not going to affect them too much, but you never know. We'll have to see how teams shift. I mean, the reality is that Neon is still good. They can still play Neon. They can still play Double Duelist. I think this team is good and flexible. Some new maps coming in as well to deal with, as far as Summit and Sunset. But I would imagine that level will probably be pretty good at Sunset because they've got Neon. They've got Neon the player and Neon the agent. They're both good on that map. Summit will be interesting. I mean, a lot of teams are going to be really bad at Summit. There's probably going to be some like weird meta that develops on that map. Probably people will just play Double Duelist because they're uncreative, but we'll have to see. As far as love goes, I think putting them in the top two is good. We might move them later. Obviously, they didn't make any changes because they just won. And that's about all that really needs to be said. Okay, 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is an interesting one. They are currently playing at EWC and they have made playoffs and they look pretty good. I was a fan of this roster coming into the year, and I think that they have shown, I would say, like steady growth. They came in looking really good at kickoff, and they kind of got surpassed by some of the more experienced teams. And then obviously there was sort of Furia, who was like a little bit of a flash in the pan. And then they kind of rebuilt for stage one, and again they were pretty solid. I think if we just bring ourselves back to America's stage one, we can remember that this team was close. They were very close to qualifying. They ended up losing to Energy in the lower round 3 to just barely miss out on making it to Masters London. So they've been very close, and I think they are a very solid team. Now, are they good enough to break into the top 4 finally? I think that will sort of remain to be seen. I'm going to put them in the 5-6 for now, and then we might move them up depending on how I feel about some of these other teams. All right, Cloud9. Cloud9, God, what did these guys even do? They had a bunch of players quit on them, which was kind of crazy. And this is a team that now consists of Fireball Ops, Sentinel, Zelsis, moving over to Flex, probably Note, Smokes player, Jack, Initiator, and Oxy. So a bunch of young, up-and-coming talent. Should be hungry, should be excited to play in the league. That might be a good sort of injection of, really hunger. I think, they had some players who seemed to maybe kind of be like skating by a little bit. I don't know. What is Cloud9's ceiling here? I feel like their ceiling is probably in this like 5th, 6th range. I don't really think they have much potential to make top 4, but you never really know. Like, they do have talented players. I think a lot of the young guys that they brought up are really good pickups, actually. But it's just a lot to ask for you to kind of like reinvent your team mid-season, bring in 3 new players. I mean, this is like the Energy recipe, I guess, but they still have like the core of Zelsis, Oxy, and EMEA. So my hope with this team is that they're not just like bringing in 3 new players and then trying to force them into the system that they've already been in, and they hope they kind of like adapt and like bring in these new players and bring in sort of their own personality to the team, because obviously the system that they've been running for a while had not been working that well. So honestly, I think I'm going to throw them in like 7-8 for now. I could see them making playoffs for sure. And then we'll maybe adjust this again. Okay, EG. I think this one's going to be pretty straightforward. Okay, so they brought up their 2 academy players, Zerona and Pancakes, and they looked a little bit better. They played EWC qualifiers and they were okay. I think they're probably going to be in my bottom 2. Not super confident about this team's potential. Wow, I'm looking at some of these other names. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to put EG at the bottom. I don't know. I feel like they're probably like a little skill gapped. And I'm not confident. And until they show me something, I think they're probably just kind of bottom feeders for now. Furia also made a bunch of changes. Furia, they got rid of Nerve and Alum, and they brought in, or they promoted Basic, who was their 6th man and somebody that they had been trying to get into their roster, but I think he had visa issues quite a bit. But now Basic comes in, and he is, what is he? He's a duelist player, right? No, he's like a flex player. What is Basic going to play for them? Is he going to play Duelist? No, I think Koala Noob is going to play Duelist. I think I've heard that Koala Noob is playing Duelist now full time. So Basic will be their flex player. Means Artson. So Shy obviously plays. Shy obviously plays Sentinel. So is Base going to play Smokes and then Artson plays Flex, or is Art going to play Smokes and Basic plays Flex? They might mix it up a little bit. That'll be kind of interesting. I don't know. I feel like this team really kind of lost their magic. They had some. I mean, look at this string of red. That's tough. Obviously, they made it to Santiago. They got kind of owned, and then they came back into stage one and played fine, but then really kind of dropped off towards the end. And then they got bounced 0-2-0-2 in the EWC qualifiers, made some roster moves, and here we are. So Furia, ooh, I mean, I think maybe just based off the respect of where they were at kickoff, I can put them in 9-10, but I'm not feeling too good about this roster. Just the inexperience, I feel like they're going to have maybe some language issues potentially. I feel like this could be like kind of like a return to old Furia. In fact, I'm going to put them in bottom 2 for now. I don't know one way or the other, but we'll put them bottom 2 for now. Okay, Envy. Another team synonymous with change. Okay, their team is now Demon 1, Rossi, Kesnit, Glyph, and Knights? No, Knights is... Wait, is Knights... Who's their last player? Who is their last player? It is Knights, right? I'm pretty sure it's Knights. Because he was on Qbert. He's not actually on Sentinels. Right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's Knights. So they're basically just... They've got a bunch of shooters. They've got a bunch of shooters. Who's IGLing? Is it going to be Rossi still? Is it going to be Glyph? Glyph IGL'd for one of his previous teams. I assume it's still going to be Rossi. How do we feel about this team? Not great, honestly. Not great. I mean, it could be interesting. They definitely have some upset potential just purely firepower wise, but I don't think their system is going to be great. And I feel like the second things go, I feel like this is gonna be like a pure momentum team. So if they come out and they're owning people, who do they play first week? They play EG. Ooh, okay. So they'll probably be EG just based off of player quality, and then MIBR they lose, Lev they lose. They might beat Furia. Okay, we can throw them in 9-10. I think. Maybe they have like a puncher's chance to go 7-8. I don't think they'll be great. But you never know. I mean, they've got a lot of firepower, but this team has seemed like a bit of a mess to me. Okay, G2. G2. How do we feel about G2 in stage 2? Are they number 2? They have been a little hit and miss, I feel like. G2 has been... I feel like they're looking a little bit more mortal than they have in quite some time. I don't know. I mean, they're obviously going to do fine. Like, they will make playoffs, I would imagine. They will have a pretty good shot at making champs based off of their points. In fact... Let me bring up Liquipedia real quick because I always forget sort of like where the standings are. For these, if we go to VCT point, I think this is like pretty important to consider when talking about these teams. Okay, so G2 is not guaranteed. They're not guaranteed, but they are top 2 in points. Furia will not catch them. Realistically, it's only NRG who would catch them. I would imagine they're probably safe for champs. But obviously they're gonna, they're gonna go all out and try and win the stage. I don't really know how to rank G2, honestly. I feel like they have not really been super impressive recently. I think I'm gonna put them in 3-4 right now. And I might even drop them a little bit lower. I'm not feeling great about them. Like they're still a solid team and have potential to be, to win Americas, but they're just not wowing me like they used to, and I feel like a lot of teams have caught up. I feel like a lot of teams have caught up to them. Okay, let us talk about Crew. Crew had quite a big change. I guess not that big of a change. They dropped Silence and brought in Heat. Heat has not played since last year. Obviously, he was a duelist, and then he played quite a bit of flex, and he was decent at flex, but he's always kind of been a duelist player. Obviously, they have Dante, who I assume they will probably just continue to put on Neon stuff. Sodak, MW0 less. It's a good core. These EWC games were irrelevant. They were playing like completely random comps because they knew they were changing their team. So they didn't really try very hard in those games. Yeah, this is an interesting team. I was so high on them early on in stage 1, and then they kind of fizzled out a little bit. I definitely feel like they have the firepower to shoot. How will Heat fit in role wise? I mean, Les is going to be their Sentinel primarily, but on maps they want to play Viper plus Sentinel, then I guess it will be Heat playing the Sentinel. I don't really know if Heat actually fixes their roles at all. Like, to be honest. How do we feel about Crew? I feel like they're kind of like in this range. They're like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I could see them do like poorly. I could see them do maybe top 4. I think because of that, I'm going to put them in like 5, 6 for now. But I can't even move them down on it. Okay, Loud. Loud was an exciting team to watch coming in to the very like end of the stage. They looked like, I mean, they brought in Erde, and he was old enough to participate, I guess. And he looked great. Like, he looked really good. So now they've got some real shooters around Luke Show. Darker looks good. Erde looks good. I believe Verdi has been allowed to explore options, but we don't know who their 5th is, which is a little concerning. Their inability to adapt to the Neon and Yoru metas was also a little concerning. I don't know if that's like coaching stuff or just roster problems or role stuff or IGL stuff. It's kind of hard to say, but they definitely didn't ever really like grasp the meta very well. Going into the next meta, I mean, where are we exactly? Got some initiator buffs, some sentinel buffs. Likely we will get some Phoenix nerfs at some point, but that seems kind of irrelevant to this team. I just really hope that this team doesn't sort of... I think at one point they were sort of just starting to put Luke Show on Duelist because he's like their best aimer. And I really hope that they don't lean into that. If they do that, then I feel like they're making a huge mistake, because I feel like Luke Show's like lurks and stuff are one of the best things about him as a player. So yeah, I kind of feel like they're almost in like this Cloud9 area where I think they're dangerous. I think they can make playoffs, but also they could end up lower just because their experience is kind of low, and depending on the meta. Yeah, I mean, this is like a very weird... I think the bottom half, honestly, like maybe from like 6th place down of Americas, is really kind of all over the place. Okay. MIBR, Energy, Sentinels, the final 3 teams for Americas. How do we feel about MIBR? Obviously, this was a team that had a lot of promise. Definitely came up short. Struggled quite a bit in stage 1. Looked pretty good at EWC qualifiers. Qualified for EWC. Is currently still playing EWC. And what kind of stuff are they playing? They're playing Double Duelist, as expected. Osboss on Waylay quite a bit. They got owned by Heretics, but I mean, Heretics is just like the EWC team, I guess. They destroyed Global Esports, but this seems like, you know, Global's having some problems. So it's kind of hard to get a read on this team. Um, if they continue on in EWC, I'm a little bit worried for them. I feel like when a season is really packed like this, it tends to be good for the young teams because the young teams need as much experience as possible. They need tons of reps. I think we saw this with Lev. We saw this with Nongjim. They came into the season with an identity and they just did the identity and they played 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 and they played. They just got rep after rep after rep after rep. And so they were just really comfortable in what they were doing in their identity. And it just kind of carried them forward through all these other teams that are trying to like exploit the meta or like make some changes or whatever. And so for the young teams, I think it's good. For the older, more experienced teams, I think that playing a lot is not as good. And so if MIBR were to lose their next game and get knocked out of EWC, I would actually feel more confident in them in stage 2. Whereas if they continue to play and then they come back, they're for sure going to lose their first couple of weeks, which is going to put them in a weird spot. And as far as like the points go, I mean, yeah, they have to get top 2, otherwise they don't make champs. I think it's probably worth just throwing them up into the top 4. Oh man, we've got Sentinels and NRG. Is NRG in 9th, 10th? No, they are not. Is Sentinels in 9th, 10th? Are they? I don't know. Okay, let's talk about NRG a little bit. So NRG, when NRG and MIBR play each other in week 1, both of which are at EWC, NRG has already made it into playoffs. So they're going to be playing quite a bit. Yeah, so Energy is an interesting team, and Energy is playing. They're playing a lot of Kiko duelists. It seems like. They are playing. I mean, just a lot of double duelists in general. Playing like Ethan on Neon randomly. What does that even mean? Ooh. Yeah, how do we feel about some of these teams? I think we're definitely gonna have to move Crew down. I think we're gonna move Loud down. We're gonna move Crew down. We need to make some space here. Is Sentinels a top 6 team though? I mean, are they? Is Energy top 2? I don't think so. Maybe they are. What's Energy's points? Energy's top 3 points. So Energy is not in on points. So they need to win. Or they need G2 to do really poorly and for them to get a decent amount of points. This is weird. This is tough. Okay, I feel better about Lev in the top 2. I definitely feel better about Lev in the top 2 at this point. Who goes up there with him? I don't feel good about any of these teams in the top 2, honestly. I think maybe we're underrating G2. Is that possible? Or, I mean, maybe we just put Energy up there. Put Sentinels in 6th. Call it a day. Maybe Sentinels in 7th. Crew. Maybe Sentinels in 8th. How do we feel about Sentinels? I mean, the thing about Energy is good. We know Energy is good. Like, they've had their issues. They haven't shown up on international stage as much as they have in previous years. Mata's having a bit of a rough year. I think Brock is getting a little figured out. They're kind of trying to reinvent themselves away from their double initiator a bit. Realistically, though, I mean, again, this is like power ranking the teams. It's probably something like this. Probably. mean, I'm fairly high on Loud, but not knowing who their duelist is a little bit. A little bit. Maybe I just put them at 10 because I don't know who their duelist is going to be. I feel like I'm definitely overrating Sentinels. This is just like the aura of Sentinels is kind of making me think that they're going to be decent. How have they done? I mean, they played a lot of EWC qualifiers. And they've just been working and working and working. I mean, I think Ewok's a good coach. I think they'll be decent. I think they'll be decent. And they actually start off with some pretty nice games. So, not that these are easy games. I don't think there's necessarily any super easy games, but they've got a good sort of like they're ramping up into the season. They don't just immediately have to play like G2 or Lev or something like that. So, I think I feel okay about that. We can even put them above Cloud9. They'll beat them in week 1, maybe. Maybe they'll beat them in week 1. It'll be interesting. Is Crew too high? I think Crew might be too high. I don't know. We'll leave it as is. Okay, so just to run it down for Americas: Lev 1, Energy 2, G2 3, MIBR 4. I think I might actually switch those. G2 4, MIBR 3. 100 Thieves 5, Crew 6, Sentinels 7, Cloud9 8, Envy 9, Loud 10, Furia 11, and EG 12. I'm sure that I'll be vastly wrong about quite a few of these, but we're just going to send it for now. Okay, EMEA is next. EMEA is next. How do we rank the EMEA teams coming into Stage 2? Quite a bit of movement in terms of some of these rosters as well. Starting out with BBL, they are currently in EWC and they're playing pretty well. LaRock looks like he is owning. They did lose to 100 Thieves. They beat EDG twice. So, I mean, are they actually good? It's kind of hard to say. I think for me, BBL is like I feel like they're like a solid 5th, 6th team at the moment. Like they're obviously skilled, but they're kind of just who they are. I don't really see them having any sort of like kickoff level run at this point. I think a lot of the teams in EMEA have gotten better. And I feel like BBL is kind of just like the same team they've always been. So we'll put them in 5th, 6th for now. I don't know why DRX is here. Okay, Eternal Fire. Eternal Fire is a team that I'm very excited about. I think that they didn't do great EWC qualifiers. And they replaced, did they replace Izzy? Wasn't there a rumor that they replaced Izzy with Comeback? Did that actually happen? They played with Izzy. I mean, Echo is like a top. He's a top 10 player in EMEA for sure. How is the rest of this team though? Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe EF is not. They're probably just going to be in this area, like fighting for playoffs. We'll put them here for now in 7th, 8th. Maybe we move them down to 9th, 10th. Like they're a dangerous team. They've got some real firepower. But again, if I'm just kind of thinking about the evolution of some of these teams, also maybe a little bit more variety in the meta away from the double duelist, teams will kind of know who they are. I don't necessarily trust this team to evolve that much. Both of these teams, right? They're Ascension teams essentially, and they're just a bunch of young players. They do have some, more experienced coaches and stuff like that, but asking young players to evolve and really change their game and level up is kind of difficult, I think. So I don't necessarily think that either of these teams will really kind of like reinvent themselves to the point where they will become a true threat to the top of the league. They can definitely beat them on the day, but I don't think consistently they will perform that well. Okay, moving on. Fnatic. They have announced that Vikaj is not coming back this year, which is very sad. He was one of the more exciting players in EMEA to watch at the start of the season. They have brought in Cloud, so it looks like they're probably planning for maybe Boaster to leave next year. And what is Cloud going to play for them? I mean, this guy is like pure initiator, has been essentially for his whole career. Crashies is pure initiator, has been for his whole career. I would assume that they're going to just kind of try and fit Cloud into the Vekaj role. Like Alfier can play the Viper and stuff, but I really think this team wants to be playing Alfier on the duelist stuff if possible. But man, I don't know. Maybe they'll just come in with like their own new identity. Regardless, I think they're gonna be good. Because Cloud is a good player, and they've done relatively well with subs. So, I mean, they're definitely a top 4 team. I'm gonna put them in 3rd, 4th right now, but I might move them up to the top 2. Okay, Foot. Foot is an interesting one also because they were impressive at Masters London. They were definitely impressive at Masters London. Obviously, they're not going to make any changes. They've had a bit of time off. They didn't go to EWC. I think they showed some really good stuff here. So they definitely have things to build on. I think their coaching staff seems relatively solid. I think that this team will actually be quite good next stage. I think it's pretty safe to put them in the top 4. Are they in the top 2? Looking at these teams, are they in the top 2 or just the top? I'm going to put them in the top 4 for now. I do think that they definitely have potential to be a top 2 team, but I also am a little worried that their style might end up being a bit readable because they do tend to play fairly similar on most of their maps. In terms of just like lots of contact plays, but they do a really good job mixing up their tempos and like changing up their looks. So I think they're a very good team. Yeah, interesting. What are their points at actually? Now I'm thinking about it. Okay, so they're actually leading in points right now, but EMEA is a bloodbath. We've got Foot and Vitality leading in points, tied at 10. Then we got Heretics at 9, BBL at 7, Eternal Fire at 6, Fnatic at 6, Liquid at, like any of these teams could win on points. Any of these teams could win the league. It feels like this is gonna be a crazy season to watch for EMEA, I think. Okay, Giants. I think Giants have kind of given up. They let Cloud go. I don't know who their replacement is. They let Grubinho go as well, I believe. I think Giants is kind of, I mean, I don't want to say this for sure, but my guess is they're probably not going to make partnership next year, and it seems like they're maybe kind of wrapping things up a little bit. I don't think they're going to be big spenders. I don't think they're really going to be, not that they're not going to be trying, but I don't think they're going to be competitive. Obviously, they have some talented players like Westside. Flickless is great. Like, they have some good players, but I don't really see them doing very much. Carmine Corps is an interesting one. They were terrible to start the year. They have looked okay at EWC. They are now out, right? They got eliminated by Energy. But they looked okay. They weren't too, honestly, I didn't watch the EWC games really because I'm not that interested in that tournament, but they put up a fight, it looks like. I feel like they're kind of going to be in this Eternal Fire range, like fighting for playoffs. Makes the most sense for me. I think we can pretty safely just put Pacific and Giants down here. Unfortunately, both of these teams are going to struggle. Ooh, and man, we might have to move some of these teams down, guys. We've got Mates who look pretty good from what I've seen recently. Navi is fairly promising. Heretics is doing well at EWC. I mean, Liquid, Vitality. I mean, who's going to be the top teams here? Who are going to be the top teams here? Going to be Vitality? Going to be Fnatic, Liquid, Heretics? Dude, I do not know. I do not know. Okay, let's just go one at a time. So Mates. Mates has looked like a strong team at EWC. They're winning. They qualified. They beat Foot, beat XOG. They beat Nongshim. They're in the playoffs. They've got a new player in Prox. Getting rid of Glyph. Martine looks insanely good still. Starkso has been really good. Beepo is now playing Sentinel for them, but it's actually been pretty solid from what I've seen, I think. I mean, his rating on Cypher is good. Cypher is good in the meta. We'll have to see what the Viper's like. But it's definitely been an improvement from his duelist days, I think. I mean, maybe they put him on duelist, like secondary duelist sometimes, but it seems like the move to Sentinel has been pretty good. They've also been putting Mini on duelist, which I don't love. And they're kind of just like sending him in to die for Martine, which, like, fair game, you know, set your best player up. But Mini has always been like a cerebral lurker, takes his timings. So if this is what they're doing, I don't know if this is going to be a great long-term solution. They're playing well right now, but against the better competition, I mean, I guess they are playing against pretty good teams right now, but like Mini duelist, really? You can put them 5th, 6th for now, but we might need to shift this around a little bit. Okay. Na'Vi. They've had a lot of stuff moving around. Their roster now is Sivo, who they've signed after he left Fnatic, or was dropped from Fnatic, to replace Filu, who was sort of their duelist, but then was kind of getting shifted around. They couldn't really find the right roles. Hero, Rucksack are their core. Chloric, the IGL from Collegiate in North America. Exit, the Saudi Arabian duelist player, who, I mean, honestly, I didn't watch these games, so I don't really know what to think. Seems like he's a very, like, just fighty. I mean, this is an unbelievable amount of first duels to be taking for the team. So he's just fighting first a lot. Might struggle a bit in his first season on stage. We'll kind of have to see. Yeah, I don't know. I might be kind of out on Na'Vi. I think that they're like a fine team, but they're probably right in the same range. I think I have maybe a little bit more faith in Carmine Core than I do in Na'Vi, as weird as that is to say. I think I might drop Eternal Fire out, though, because I just, as much as I like Echo, I feel like they might have run their course a little bit in stage 1. I don't think that they're going to be beating teams like Foot, Fnatic, Heretics, Vitality in stage 2. So I might be kind of out on Eternal Fire. Heretics. I mean, dude, am I really putting Heretics near the top again for them to just disappoint me? They did win domestically last stage. Obviously, they looked pretty bad, but they did lose to 2 of the top 3 teams. That is something to keep in mind, right? They lost to 2 of the top 3 teams at the event, top 4 teams at the event. So overall, their 0-2 is not the worst thing in the world, and they did play Lev. Was it competitive on one map? I guess. I guess I can put Heretics in the top 2. I mean, I guess so. Like, I don't know. They probably will be pretty good, and so sure. Liquid will be very interesting to look at. Okay, Wayne Miniboo out. Kicks and Treks in. So they now have Kicks, Treks, Nats, Purpo, and Camo. I assume Camo moves back to Duelist full time. Kicks will be playing Flex ish. Nats plays Sentinel. Wait, will Kicks be playing Smokes? Trex will be playing Initiate. Will Purpo be playing Smokes? What is happening with this team? I guess Kicks will be their Smokes player, right? Surely. Yeah, so Kicks will Kicks will be their Smokes player, which means Trex will be their main initiator. Purple will just kind of be like the flex player, I guess. Maybe double duelist, maybe some Phoenix type of thing with camo. I think that makes the most sense. Are they going to be good? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe they're in here. Honestly, man, I kind of want to kick BBL out of this 5th, 6th. I think I'm going to put Liquid in 5th, 6th, BBL down here, and we're dropping Navi. We're dropping Navi. I think I'm out on Navi. And then we get Vitality as our last EMEA team. So Vitality, Heretics, top 2. I mean, I think that tracks. Foot top 3. I mean, maybe Foot is top 2. Heretics is top 3. I think I'm something like this. I think I'm something like this. I feel like this is going to be so wrong. But yeah, we'll just go with it. Okay, we've got Vitality, Heretics, Fnatic, Foot, Mates, Liquid, BBL, KC, Navi, Eternal Fire, Giants, and Pacific. Feel relatively confident about the bottom 2, but I don't feel super confident about anything else that we just did on for EMEA. Okay, let us talk about Pacific. Pacific is next. Pacific is going to be content. Going to be content this year. Or this stage, rather. Okay. They kick off their matches when? 1 week and 2 days from now. Genji Zeta, Team Secret Veryl. Enthralling matchups. Okay, let's talk about DFM. So DFM, did they make any changes? I don't think they did. I think they're kind of just running it back with what they had. They played GE and T1 and EWC qualifiers. They lost. I mean, realistically, DFM is probably just going to be the DFM that we expect. They're going to be like a 9th, 10th team where they maybe could make it into playoffs. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. They're going to be like fighting for a playoff spot, but probably going to be missing it, would be my guess. And realistically, I think we can kind of just do this. Veryl's going to be here. Zeta's going to be here. I think Secret actually has a decent chance to be better. You know what? Let's wait on Secret. I have some thoughts about Secret. I think this makes a lot of sense to me. It'll probably be like this. I think I'm out on Zeta. I don't think they have enough firepower. Did they make changes? I don't think they did either. I think they're just playing with the team that they had in stage 1, right? And this team, I don't think this team is going anywhere. So I think we can just put them down here. Okay, let's talk about Full Sense. We're gonna start with the good stuff. Full Sense and Global back to back. Full Sense, Frost head coach, Sephiroth in for Leviathan. I like both of those moves. You know, it could be interesting with Frost joining an existing coaching squad, but from his podcast, it sounds like they've kind of been welcoming him with open arms, and it seemed like it was kind of Cruz running the team anyway, so now it's Frost and Cruz again back together. I assume they'll just continue running their system they've been running with Premion Duelist, Jit playing some Duelist as well. Um, I think they're going to be pretty good. I think I feel pretty confident putting them in the top 4. Um, I think they were already right around there, you know, 4th, 5th, something like that in terms of power overall, maybe 3rd, anywhere in that range. And I don't think necessarily that too much is going to change. Um, does Frost Edition make them suddenly like the best team in the league? No, that's still going to be Paper X. Let's be honest. Paper X, like, I know that they kind of bombed out at EWC. Who cares? Paper X is going to be in the top 2. They're probably going to be number 1. It is what it is. Is Full Sense up here now? It's definitely possible. It's actually definitely possible. And this is as somebody who, like, okay, I think that Frost is an effective coach in a lot of ways. I'm not a huge glazer of like, oh, he's one of the best coaches ever, but I think that he's good. And he might be what it takes to get Full Sense from being a 3rd, 4th, 5th team to being a top 2 team. That's definitely possible. Like that sort of shift in tier might be real. But I don't think this like immediately makes them the best team in the world. I guess that's sort of like the caveat. But I definitely could actually put them in the top 2. We'll revisit this. Okay, Global Esports, the team left behind or the team that moved on. They looked terrible at EWC based on the stats. I did watch their very first game against MIBR and they looked pretty shit. So, you know, that is what it is. They have announced they're bringing in the Nous head coach Amix, who I scrimmed against a lot last year. I scrimmed against Javi and Amix on Nous, and I have a pretty good sense of both him and Javi is like a duo. I guess my main problem with GE at this point is like, how are the vibes? Who's running this team? Is it the Filipino contingent now with Amex, Patman, and Javi? Is Platoon firmly in control? Is Autumn slighted because Frost is out of the team? Like, I feel like this was a team that was very vibes based early on in the year, and I do not think the vibes are as good as they were. And that might be kind of weird to say since like it seems like maybe vibes were the reason that Frost was removed, but the players seem to be vibing, and I don't know if that's going to be the case after all like the politicking and stuff has happened. So I'm fairly worried about Global. Like they have solid players. I do like the move of Crystal to being more of like a sentinel lurker type of player. But man, I like I think I'm putting them down here with DFM. I think I'm putting them in the bottom 4 for now. It's a little concerning when you have this much chaos. As somebody who went through a chaotic year, it's not easy to play when stuff is happening. And that means that maybe Team Secret escapes the bottom basement. Okay, anyway, let's talk about DRX. What is happening with DRX? Who is their roster? They have had a rotating player. Mako Hyunmin freeing, of course. Bane still there. Yong. They released Hermes. Who do they play EWC with? Do they play with Hermes? No, they played with Yong. They've had Yong on Smokes on Arbor. I mean, it looks like they're kind of committing to this team. They did beat Full Sense at EWC qualifiers. I mean, that's not bad. Not too bad. They lost to Nongshim. Was this in like the decider? No, they just lost to Nongshim here, and they lost to RQ. Okay, so DRX. I mean, DRX is probably just going to be DRX. Like they're going to be a solid team. They're going to make playoffs. Are they going to be really good? I think their floor is lower than it had, or their ceiling is lower than it has been in previous years. I just don't think that they are able to recapture who they were with Flashback. I think that he kind of made them an actual contender in terms of like how much firepower, playmaking, the role comfort, all of that worked out really well. I don't think they're going to quite recapture that, but they will be a solid team because they are always a solid team. Okay, Gen G. Gen G. Where do we put Gen G? They recently released Lakia. Zinx, I think, was also rumored to be out. They signed Tiesta in February, and he's been playing in Tier 2. I think, is this kid like 16? 20? I think he's 16. Yeah, I think he's too young to play. 2010, I assume this is his birthday. So I think Siesta is too young to play, which is unfortunate because he's been absolutely dropping nukes in the Korean tier 2. Like, these stats for Neon are obscene. This is ridiculous numbers. So next year, if Gen G is still in partnership, it'll be fun to watch him play. But I don't think he'll be joining the roster this year, which might cause them some problems because now they've got Texture, they've got Charon, they've got Ash. They don't have an IGL. I mean, if they're smart, they would just probably go get Stacks since he's no longer on T1. I don't know if T1 will give him to a rival, though. I wouldn't if I was T1. I'd probably contract jail him. But I think you've got some fairly interesting options. You could go get like, yeah, you could go get Stacks. King is out there. Who are they gonna get? We don't know. Don't know. Oxy9 is like, who is this team gonna be? I don't think I can put them much higher than 8th because I don't know who their roster is. But also, I feel like they'll be okay, maybe. What a weird year. What a weird year for the Korean teams. Okay. I'm gonna try and speed run the rest of this. There's a few more things that okay, hold on. I just realized this secret top 6. Hold on. Okay, we got a few more teams to talk about. Nongshim is playing EWC. They look pretty good. They're playing Francis on Initiator. They're playing Danby on Neon. They're playing X-Ross on Duelist now. They look good. They look solid. The roles make sense. Francis has been a very good Initiator player in the past. X-Ross was a Duelist player when he was in Tier 2. So the change is not that big for them. I think they're just a solid team. They're a little inconsistent. You know, Ivy sometimes looks insane, looks a little inconsistent at times. RB, you know, solid leadership. I think Nongshim is pretty solidly like 4th, 5th-ish territory. I would probably even go as far as to put them in top 4. I think this team is good. Yeah, I think they're one of the better Korean teams at the moment. Okay, RRQ. They got rid of Monyet, brought in Zan. Zan, I scrimmed against quite a bit last year when he was on Naus. I think he's a very high skill, high ceiling, high like potential player. Kind of inconsistent. His EWC showing was really poor. But I definitely think that he's like a solid player. I think he's probably going to be fairly Monyet-esque in like sometimes he'll look crazy good, sometimes he's going to be throwing. And because of that, I think I feel fairly confident in RRQ just being like a solid team that is probably not going to win the league. Um, I think I'm going to put them at 5th, 6th. Maybe. Is DRX really? DRX, though, like, they're always 5th, 6th. Okay, we'll put DRX up there. Okay, T1 and Team Secret. Which one is going to the top 2? Which one is going to 7th, 8th? The answer is neither. I'm moving full sense up, and I'm putting T1 at 3rd. And the reason for this is, okay, they dropped stacks. So here's my whole T1 situation. They had 2 IGLs. It kind of went okay, but there was a lot of overlap. They did this honestly last year where they had Yeoman and Munchkin, and I believe that didn't work out because both of them wanted to make a lot of calls. Munchkin wins out, as he does. Stacks gets dropped. Munchkin probably will move to full-time Viper KO like he normally does. He just plays his comfort stuff where he's good. That means probably less Meteor on Viper, which probably means more Meteor Duelist, which I don't like, if I'm being honest. I mean, Meteor has honestly just been playing pretty shit this year. Like, he is. So I'm pretty sure what's happening here is we're going Izu full-time Recon, Munchkin KO Viper, DH full-time Smokes, Buzz Duelist, Meteor secondary Duelist slash Cypher Vice, I suppose. And if that's what they do, I'm not a fan. Like, Izu is good on Recon. Izu's just a great player. He's just a really good player. But his impact when he's opping and when he was playing that sort of secondary, I think, God, it was so good. But maybe they're just like really kind of deciding, okay, maybe that was just all Yoru for Izu. And they're just going to put Meteor on like Phoenix and stuff and have him. I mean, maybe it'll be good. I guess I'm not totally out on T1. I think they'll probably be pretty dangerous, but I'm just a little worried. Like, if Meteor looks insane on secondary Duelist and he's not just like feeding like he sometimes does when he plays too aggressively, if he's playing like Phoenix and stuff and he's, you know, feeding his ult, that's probably fine. Maybe they'll probably still be solid, and maybe they'll even be a little bit better because they won't have as many voices. DH is good. The roles will make maybe a little bit more sense. We'll go with this. Paper X full sense at the top. T1 number 3. Nongshin number 4. And you know what? I'm throwing Team Secret in the top 8. We'll take a quick look at their roster. They made quite a bit of moves. Their roster, I believe, it does not have. Okay, so RBTX is out as their coach. They brought in Spin, who was the Motive coach and global esports coach. They brought in Styron to be, I assume, their IGL, or is Kelly S still going to be the IGL? I would assume it's going to be Styron, because it wouldn't make sense for you to bring over the coach and the IGL and then not have them like be a system, I think. So I'm pretty sure the roster is Styron, Zeus, Kelly S, Sylvan. I thought I saw that Berserks was maybe out. I kind of hope that's not the case. Man, how would I even find this room? Let's see. Have it here. Motive players and coach. Very helpful past me. Thank you for that. Secret Styron Spin. See if we can find a. Okay, Nats. Not Team Liquid Nats. Nats. He's a Thai player, right? I think no, he's Indonesian. Okay. Nats. So he was on Boom. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not. Um, I think Berserks is pretty good, so I kind of hope they haven't replaced him. But if they have, then I guess we'll just kind of have to see. Um, I what are the roles going to be? I mean, I guess I'm a little worried about like an IGL takeover. I guess Styron will play initiator. Um, Kelly S, I assume will be playing flex, which has kind of always been his role. I mean, he's a really good KO player. Like he is legitimately a very good KO player. KO Sky. Yeah, so maybe he'll just be flexing around a bit. I think that's kind of where Kelly is at his best. Yeah, I'm optimistic about the secret team. This might be underrating Global a little bit too much, overrating Genji and Secret. I don't know. I'm just like super worried about the vibes on Global, and I want to be optimistic about Secret. And I don't know. I kind of just want to see like Texture and Karen play well. So maybe Genji will cook. Realistically, this is probably closer to what it's gonna be. Maybe. But we're gonna go ahead and do this for the memes in the thumbnail. Okay, China. Who's good in China? Well, EDG probably still gonna be top two. XLG probably still gonna be top two. AG is a good team. I mean, I think China's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be really competitive, actually, because everybody is going to want to go to champs. There's been a lot of roster moves going on. We have, I mean, let's just talk about it. So AG, they have been playing. I mean, they're currently at EWC. How is this even going to work? Like, they're still in the tournament, and they start in. Oh, are their games delayed until? Okay, so the scheduling has done them a favor. It's crazy. They actually, they've. I mean, still, like when is the last? If they were to go deep in EWC, when is the last game? They're going to be on some insane schedule. So even if All Gamers is good, even if All Gamers is good, okay, they could literally be. I mean, they're probably not going to get to the grand final. So realistically, they probably go home on the 10th, and then they play on the 14th. So that's going to be an insane turnaround. They're playing with bye. Something I thought there was some rumor that they had changed their team a bit. I don't know. I mean, they're like they're a solid team, but they have never really figured out their IGL situation. Um, I think Kira is still their IGL, but also playing Duelist and Sentinel, which is a little bit tough sometimes to call. And I just don't know what their fifth player is, because I think they have four very good players, and their fifth has just been this rotating, like always kind of a liability player. So I think I'm probably going to put them in like fifth, sixth right now. Because they're solid, but I don't think that they have quite the same level of potential as some of these other teams. Okay, BLG. BLG was another team that I feel like got a little bit destroyed by not having a totally set five. When they played their EWC qualifiers, okay, they played with this. So like they also have like four very good players, and then July is their fifth. Interesting. I'm not super familiar with Eli. Yeah, there's a lot of these Chinese teams that are like 4 out of 5 I trust, the fifth not sure. Honestly, BLG will probably be around the same level as AG. I think because of that. Um, DRG. DRG also just made some changes, I know. They have also had like this rotating fifth player. They now have brought in Verse, who I don't really know anything about. Um, who do they kick? Flexen? Is Flexen out? I mean, again, it's like a Chinese tier 2 player, so there's no stats. Um, he played against All Gamers on their, I assume, their academy roster or whatever this secondary squad was. Um, yeah, is Flexen? I think Flexen might be out because they're not going to get rid of Spirit. They're not getting rid of Ukashu, obviously. Nick is their. I mean, is Life out? I mean, Life has been. Life has been. He's been having a rough one. What I mean, the thing about DRG is like they always just seem to make top 4 because of Vukashu, basically. Um, is that gonna? I feel like that might not happen this year for this stage. I think there might be too many good teams. Um, if they're playing with, I think I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna put them in 7th, 8th. I don't love this team. Um, I think their floor is okay because they've got a lot of firepower, but I don't love the team in terms of how they play the game. Okay, FPX. FPX has also had a lot of changes. Sorry, I'm kind of like speed running some of this. I just genuinely don't know all of the changes because there have been so many in China. Okay, Legia's still coaching. Aeon, Kovac, Cetrod staying. They transferred Berlin to JDG. I mean, surely this team is going to be terrible, right? Like, surely this team is just going to be terrible. There's no way. Yeah, I've okay. We're just gonna put FPX at the bottom. They were pretty bad in stage 1. They've gotten rid of their IGL or former. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this team is doing. Like they did beat Trace and JDG in EWC qualifiers, but half these players are not even here anymore. Um, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this team, to be honest. Uh, let's just go ahead and put them at the bottom and move on. Okay, JDG is a pretty interesting one. So they have now replaced Stu. They've brought in an actual. So this team, I think, really needed like a. I think J Kuro was their IGL, but I assume Berlin will now be their IGL, which will be good because I don't think J Kuro was a great IGL. Jay is incredible. Jay is really, really good. Yuka is solid. Obviously, they have Bale, who has pretty good results in China. But this team also seems like they're kind of in a rebuild. I think they're maybe going to be around. They're probably in like the DRG category somewhere around here. I might even put them in like 9th, 10th, to be honest. I didn't realize quite how much they're rebuilding at the moment. Okay, Nova is also an interesting one. They've had quite a few changes. They did well in the Evo, like they won Evo, which is cool, and they played some actual squads, um, or mostly squads. Swagzor has been putting up crazy numbers. Um, yeah, this is definitely a team. I feel like they're kind of like a team secrety type team where they could probably sneak into playoffs if everybody's playing well. Um, they, yeah, I think they have potential. I don't think they're going to make champs, but I think they could be a little bit of a dark horse team. Um, Titan Esports is also kind of an interesting one. I believe they added Muggle, who is a champions winning coach. Yeah, they have a crazy big. So After and Muggle both used to be on EDG as coaches. This team was consistently giving teams that were good a run for their money. Like they're playing close against a lot of the good teams. EWC, they got kind of owned by AG and XLG, so they're clearly below them. Ooh, they got wrecked by AG. Okay, so yeah, I think TEC's they're probably just like still in this area. I think we can maybe safely move AG up to third, fourth. I think we can put TEC kind of in the same area. Maybe we move DRG up. And okay, we've got a couple more spots. Trace, what is Trace doing? I'm sort of uninformed about Trace Esports at the moment. So they're like plus minus Fung Fung. They've had essentially the same team this whole time. They played Evo, they lost to TEC. They had Fung Fung in again. Okay, I think Trace is probably going to be they're not going to be great. Maybe bottom two, honestly. Tyloo. I'm excited to talk about Tyloo. I was excited about Tyloo in stage 1, and they kind of let me down at the very last minute. But the big thing is that they have now brought in an actual IGL. Like they really, 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 really needed an IGL. They now have an IGL, and I assume their 5 will be Sufat, Splash, Slowly, Scales, and ERV. And that is a team that is definitely good enough to make champs. They for sure should be in the top 3. I'm going to put them actually at number 3. If they don't do anything with this roster, then it's very unfortunate. I think they for sure should be top 3. Potentially could beat an XLG depending on the day. And then we've got Wolves. What is Wolves cooking? So they've got Alexer, who is the DSG coach. He was also Nova's coach for like 3 seconds. Darion is rejoining Alexer. Of course, Darion was Undisguised as well. Big Darion fan, obviously. But this team actually looks pretty good. I don't know very much about Nothing, but I do know that Yosemite is solid. Glacier and Spring, I believe, are cousins. Pretty sure. I believe Aluba was just added. Yeah, joined in June. Okay, so they dropped him and then brought him back. They're replacing their coaching staff. I mean, realistically, this team they have to prove themselves. But they have quite a bit of skill in this team. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and throw them in here. I think we're going to move... Honestly, I'm going to move DRG down. This is definitely some cope. But I hope that Derek has a good time in China. I'm going to see the downfall of DRG because I think that they're playing some atrocious Valorant. That's my tier list. That's my power ranking. Let's go into the China week 1 pick'ems real quick. Who do we got? Wolves and Titan Esports. I mean, it's probably going to be Titan. They've been playing together longer. But we're going Derek. We're going Darion. Wolves for the win. Okay, BLG versus DRG. Let's go BLG. I think they're a solid, better team. FPX Trace. Probably a toilet bowl. We'll go Trace just because they have been playing as a team longer. Tyloo should beat GADG. Titan against DRG. Ooh, this is going to be tough. Let's go Titan again. I'm super down on DRG. Wolves, Billy. I don't think Derek's going to get it done this time. We'll put Billy through. Nova against FPX. I'm going to go Nova. And then Tyloo should destroy Trace. So that's my week 1 pick'ems for China. We'll save it. We'll lock it in. We'll see how wrong I am. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Let me know who you think is going to be good in stage 2 and who you're excited to watch. And we will see you in a week.